Aloha lovelies, Empress Hill coming right back at you with another video. Today is another day, another blessing, and another opportunity to get things right. It is officially Freeform Friday, and I have another lock video for y'all. So you are right on time, and I'm happy to share my experience and how I started my Freeform Locs. Now, I do have a disclaimer because I don't truly believe that there is any right or wrong way to start Freeform Locs. However, I am here to share my experience. So with that said, about 12 years ago, after a trip to Costa Rica, I decided that I wanted to embrace this journey. The first step in starting the Freeform Loc process is to free your mind. And until you can free your mind, you may delve into this journey unsuccessfully for the first few times that you attempt it. Now, when you are clear with what you want to do with your hair, when you have a reason for growing your locks, whether it is for a spiritual purpose or for the style, you like the way that it looks, you just need to stick to that, and you need to be sure not to let anyone else stray you from that. Freeform Locs is a commitment. It is a journey within itself that is going to be frowned upon by other people, and if you do not have the right mentality, you will easily be talked out of it. I did go back and forth in the very beginning based on my understanding of Freeform Locs versus manicured locks. I did start with comb coils, and there are people out there that will say that my Freeform Locs are not authentic based on that alone. I'm not hearing that. I'm not going to let that discourage me from continuing on my personal journey. Freeforming can be started at any time in your journey. I know people who have started their Freeform Locs with their hair very long in the beginning. I did start my locks with my hair very short in the beginning, and I went from manicured locks to semi-freeform where I was separating them to, by the first year and a half, completely letting them grow on their own. And I do wash my hair and I do sleep on my hair, and I think nature has its own way of manipulating our locks. So you can see that I have different sizes, different shapes. I have flat locks, I have round locks, I have thick locks, I have skinny locks, and this is all how they've grown over time by the way that I live, sleep, wash my hair, and the lack of maintaining it outside of keeping it clean. I've seen other people's videos where they are using lock gels. I don't believe that that is necessary at all, especially if you have curly hair. Your hair naturally wants to be locked. It naturally goes to the state. So there's no reason to add lock gel. That could be very damaging down the road because it is a magnet for buildup. Any type of gels or anything, oils and stuff like that, if you are using it excessively and it's not being washed out of your hair, it will cause buildup. It will get trapped in your hair over time. You have glands within your body that secrete oils. Sebum is produced within the hair follicle and acts as a lubricant for your scalp. So when we over oil our hair, believe it or not, this can be the cause of dandruff and dryness over time. I believe that oiling your scalp is counterproductive. Unless you have some type of condition, your body and your hair follicles will produce sebum. Now, as long as you are feeding yourself correctly and staying hydrated, these oils are enough for your hair to thrive. I think there's a misconception that our hair isn't naturally dry. I'm not saying that it should be brittle and weak, but it's not necessarily natural for your hair to be oily at all times. When you're laying on a pillow, you shouldn't have an oily residue on your pillow. That is just getting trapped inside of your locks. If this is what your hair naturally feels like in its most natural state, what gives on trying to change that? What is the purpose of trying to change that with oils outside of your body when, again, your body produces its own natural oils? This is something that I never understood, and the same thing goes for lotion. From an early age, we're taught to moisturize once we get out of the shower, and it becomes such a routine to lather lotion on our bodies. And for that moment, yes, our skin appears soft and moisturized. But what happens when you stop putting lotion on? It becomes even more dry than it was to begin with. And a lot of times these things take time to notice. So you're not going to notice the outcome a week after not using lotion. Your body gets used to having to fight what you're using outside of it. And as it overproduces, you have these circumstances such as dryness and cracking and even acne. That's all due to elements outside of your body. I've seen other people describe their method as rubbing it, and although that may be a quicker way to achieve the long-term outcome, that is completely unnecessary as well. Your hair, again, wants to be locked, so whether you're rubbing it with a towel or not, it's going to eventually become this way if you are not combing it, if you are not separating it, if you are not manipulating it. This isn't a sprint, this isn't a marathon, this isn't any type of race. This is a lifestyle. This is something that you adapt to and something that you embrace. And a lot of times I think it leads to other forms of bettering yourself. That was at least the case with me. I spent more time focusing on what I was putting in my hair than I wasn't paying much attention to what I was putting in my body. So that is another thing that freeforming has taught me, is to take care of your hair inside and out. Another video that I've seen suggests that you separate your freeform locks as they grow to avoid them growing together. And while that is completely a preference, I don't believe that that is necessary either. I did have a point where I separated my locks very early on in my journey, and they continued to grow together the same way. So giving your hair the freedom to grow the way that it does, it's counteractive to constantly be separating them. I still have access to my scalp, even though my locks have grown together the way that they have over the years. I can still reach my scalp if I need to. I often massage my scalp. When I wash my hair, I make sure that I'm washing the scalp. So I don't believe that it is necessary to separate your locks. I think that it is preference. Now, I've seen another video that talks about your individual smaller locks that may grow, combining them. I don't really think that that is necessary either. If they're meant to combine, that will happen naturally. I don't think that there's anything wrong with letting them grow and seeing what happens down the road. Now, while I have smaller locks that are on their own, eventually they may grow together, and I'm okay with that. I can show you one of my locks that has started out individual that has now grown together, and I don't feel like it's necessary. I don't need to cut it into its own lock. But again, that all comes down to personal preference. For me, the point of Freeform Locs is giving your hair the freedom to grow the way that it does naturally with no manipulation. So I saw a video where the question was asked how to repair broken locks. I don't really think that that is necessary either. Broken locks are part of the process. My hair throughout the growth cycle has always gotten shorter before it's gotten longer because the end of my locks break off. I never felt that it was necessary for me to combine the ends of my locks to stop them from breaking off. If they fall out, then that is shedding that energy from that period of time that's just held in your hair. When they're ready to fall out, they fall out, and I'm okay with that. I look at it as a cleansing moment and a shedding of whatever was taking place during those years. It no longer holds value in my life, and I don't feel like I need to force it by attaching it or keeping it, and that's my personal preference. Now, if it's breaking from the root, that is a whole nother issue that you need to address, and I think that the best method for that altogether is prevention. What can you do to stop your hair from being brittle? A lot of times your hair is brittle from over manipulation, lack of hydration, and other issues outside of what naturally happens. I think that when your locks are growing, if they're thinning out, it's survival of the fittest. If they're thinning out, it'll likely grow together and naturally attach to another lock. So I don't believe that it's necessary to combine those locks or to remedy them in any way. Just let it do what it does, and the problem will take care of itself, assuming that you don't have an issue outside of the natural growth cycle. It's important to realize that your hair is growing from your body. So whatever you're feeding your body is going to be the outcome of your hair. So when it comes to dry and brittle hair, the best remedy for that, if at all possible, is prevention. Prevent your hair from being dry, prevent your hair from being brittle by taking care of yourself from within. So those are just my thoughts. I know people are probably going to come for me in the comments, but I'm not worried about that. I'm sharing my personal journey, my personal opinions, and what has worked for me and what I have observed. So part of freeforming is to not let other people's influence bother you. And while it is not my intention to offend anybody, I am not here to please everybody. This is how I feel. This is what I've experienced, and this is what I've observed. If what I'm saying does not apply to you, I'm okay with that. I understand that. Just know that I'm expressing my own feelings, and you can do what you want at the end of the day. Freedom is within the beholder. It is your freedom to grow your hair however you would like to grow it. This is for people who have asked me how I started my lock journey, what they can do. I'm just giving tips and feedback based on my own experience. And I hope that there are people that can take away from this and learn from this. And I'm just happy to be here in a place to share. So when it comes to how to start Freeform Locs, the answer is to just let them grow. Alright, so that is my video for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you can stay informed when I drop the next video. And until next time, peace. What? Y'all are still here? Well, I'm getting ready to prepare myself this bomb-ass meal. Mushroom and peas, something simple. So stand by for this bonus content. In the kitchen, feeling good. Food got me itching because I'm ready to eat. And I rhyme on beat. And I'm about to get on my feet and put some heat on this food. Don't be rude. This is an interlude. and I come through. You know how we do. We ain't rockin' blue. About to hit the ooh, ooh la la.